Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. For one thing, we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, what up? Talk your truth, bro. Check it out. Once a cop.
Pull up a seat. You're now in Corey's Corner, where right conversations matter. I'm your host, Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Today's guest is a man whose life story is a blueprint for redemption, resilience, and raw truth. Born and raised in Brooklyn's East New York and Brownsville neighborhoods, Samson Styles grew up in some of the city's toughest housing projects where survival was often the only goal. By age 12, he found himself in juvenile detention, but even there, he discovered a gift for writing and storytelling that would later change his life. After serving over 7 years in prison as an adult, Samson emerged determined to rewrite his own narrative. He went on to become an award-winning journalist, filmmaker, and co-owner of J City Enterprise, using a camera as his weapon of change. His acclaimed documentaries, including Brooklyn Girls Fight Club and Killing Beef, dive deep into the realities of violence, redemption, and community healing. From the pink houses, the stinky pinks, to primetime television, Samson Styles has turned his pain into purpose, using his story to uplift others, expose truths, and redefine what it means to rise from struggle. Welcome, my brother, Samson Styles, baby.
Peace, man. Why the stinky pinks, though, man?
Stinky pinks, man. You know, I'm from the suburbs in Queens, man. Yeah. I was commander of the 75 precinct.
I know.
The pink houses. I used to be joking like, yo, those are stinky pinks over there, right?
Man. That's crazy. I think.
Quick story. Let me tell you. Uncle Murder. I was commanding officer PSA 2. So they called me, yo, somebody got shot. True story. Somebody got shot in the head. Go down there. Uncle Murder just signed with Jay-Z. So I go down there. It's Uncle Murder. He's sitting on the sidewalk. So see, he got shot in the head. It's just a little graze.
Right.
A graze. So I'm like, yo, what happened? He was like, your punk ass cop shot me. I said, this motherfucker. Gangster. All the way gangster in the projects. All the way gangster. Y'all Brooklyn dudes are different, man.
I don't know, man. There's something in the water, man. Now, you know what it is? Pink houses in Brownsville, that's like the end of Brooklyn. So it's like the poorest. Brownsville and East New York, that's the poorest. The money flows, if you look at it from Wall Street, and it goes in the direction of downtown Brooklyn first. That's why you see them cats getting a little more paper. Mm-hmm. By the time we get all the way to Brownsville and pink houses, we get the last strip.
Yo, I never heard nobody explain it like that. Yeah. Yo, fun fact, most dangerous corridor in New York City is Linden Boulevard. You ride down Linden Boulevard from Queens, you hit Lindenwood Diner. You're in the 7-5 precinct, most violent precinct in the city. You hit Pennsylvania Avenue, 7-3 precinct. Then you get to Brookdale Hospital, 6-7 precinct. So it's a high probability that you get murder, rape, robbery, car stolen, assault. It's crazy. That's Brooklyn, the most violent corridor in New York City.
I know it was violent, but I didn't know it was the most violent corridor. It was Linden Boulevard. That's always been a nice place to me.
Yeah, because you lived it. We live in violent areas. We don't think it's violent. But when you're talking from a numbers perspective, when you're looking at high crimes, you could just Google most violent precincts in New York City. Oh, wow. 7-5, 7-3, 6-7 going to be in the top 5.
Yeah, I know the precinct's definitely violent, but I did not know Linden Boulevard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it touches all those 3 precincts.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I want to acknowledge my sponsors for today's show, Corrupt Mob NC, where unity and brotherhood meets the road. Respect the mob. And Vodka, that smooth, refreshing drink with a nice fusion of vodka and tequila. Great starter for any conversation. Shout out to both sponsors for sponsoring this show. So let's get into it. For those who might not know you, who is Samson Styles and how did growing up in East New York and Brownsville shape your worldview?
Samson Styles is a son, father, grandfather. still gangster if I gotta be, try not to be. And how it helped shape me was just growing up in pink houses. I learned everything from how to fight to how not to fight and to maneuver and use my mind. You got 22 buildings with at least 64 apartments, I think, in each building, at least. So you got every type of character you can name. You got the bully, you got the sucker, you got the smart guy, you got and the same thing for the women that you have to navigate through. So it kind of prepared me for life in general, you know, just dealing with all those characters and knowing how to manage them and handle them. Going to karate class in the center, learning how to play ping pong, pool, then yet fighting to keep, you know, whatever sneakers or whatever you have on. Because back in those days, cats would take your sneakers off your feet if you wasn't, you know, thorough or if you didn't know how to stand up for yours. A lot of cats was going home from junior high school with their socks on. You know, I wasn't going to ever be one of those dudes. You know what I'm saying? So, and it wasn't like I always had to be the toughest. Sometimes I had to be smart. I had to say the right thing so they won't take my sneakers. You know? So it definitely prepared me for life in a way that I didn't, you know, I'm glad that I grew up there and didn't grow up where it was real soft and I didn't have to deal with those adversities or challenges.
Right. So when you look back, it's 12 years old, you was in JD, juvenile delinquency. Juvenile detention.
Yeah.
What stands out most? Fear, regret, or the first spark of transformation?
I say...
Were you in Spofford?
I went to Spofford, then from Spofford, I went to St. Vincent, then they sent me to Lincoln Hall. I was doing a little traveling. And I did the rest of my time in Lincoln Hall and came home.
Okay.
But I say, I'm not going to say it was fear. When I first went through, it was fear.
Right.
But growing up in pink houses prepared me for that, for real.
Right.
Because when the bullies came, I knew how to handle them. You know, St. Vincent's, we had cats from I think it was from 12 to 18 that was in that spot.
Wow.
You know,
that's a big age gap.
Yeah. It was from 12 to 18. So that's why I got knowledge of self. I, you know, came guard body there, you know, and it started when I almost got in a fight with one of the young guards. He was trying to take my sneakers. And I said, man, I'll fuck you up and all your people, whatever. You know, I was just pink houses, like, fuck all y'all, you know, whatever. So then one of the older brothers, one of the guards was like, yo, you fight him one-on-one because homie thought he was going to have the crew take my stuff. He said, you fight him one-on-one and see if you could take his stuff. I said, yeah, come on, man. So he ain't want none. So he said, yeah, you know, he called him out. I'll never forget his name to this day. His name was Shabon. He said, yeah, Shabon, you got somebody that's your match now.
Right.
And then he came and pulled me to the side and started educating me. So me and him got tight, but I didn't join the nation on some sucker because I was a sucker or, you know, being oppressed.
Right.
I joined because, you know, it seemed like I dig what they was talking about, the unity, and I was always a reader and always was inquisitive. So when I seen they was breaking down knowledge, I was attracted to that. So it was like knowledge and gangster, you know, at the same time. So that was the perfect fit for me.
Yo, listen, I didn't realize you was writing romantic love letters.
Yeah, man.
For other prisoners.
Nice.
You was nice with the pen?
I was nice
so,
with the
so
pen.
how does that, so they get with yo, Samson, yo, I need you to write my girl a letter.
Nah, they used to see, the first thing I ever stole in my life was a pen. I used to go right to TSS, Times Square store, used to be right on Linden Boulevard, right across from pink houses at the time, right? Where they got the movie theater there now. I used to go in there and look for the dopest pens, and I used to steal them because I loved to write.
Right.
So I had the ill penmanship, and chicks used to always say, damn, you write real nice. You write real nice. So I'm going to keep writing because I like the attention I was getting. So when I was locked up, you know, I write letters and was practicing my writing, making it, you know, sound nice and everything. And a lot of young cats that was my age, they didn't even really know how to read that good.
Right.
Or write. So I was getting my hustle on with that. Like, I write your girl a letter because I was writing letters and getting pictures back and stuff like that. They're like, yo, you know. So I was like hustling the letters.
Yo, that's ill.
Yeah.
After being released from JD, what made it so difficult to stay away from the streets even after you discovered your creative side?
Because it was difficult to stay away from the streets because I was attracted to the streets, man. Like I remember growing up in pink houses, you always like the pickpockets, the dudes that was picking pockets, and the girls boosting, and the people that was getting money on the street was being idolized,
Of course.
right? So not the bookworms. Now I was both because I grew up in Park Slope the first 8 years of my life. So
Right.
there the school was diverse. You had
Mm-hmm.
white, black, Chinese, Asian, all types of. It was a variety of people. So the model in PS321 was, you do good, you smart, you get props. So I was getting props for being smart. I always wanted to, fit in. Then when I moved to pink houses, it was the complete opposite. If you had a anger
That's when
management,
you had that big afro.
yeah. Yeah, I always had long hair, man. They always was like, who, Samson with the braids or Born with the braids?
Yeah.
Before everybody was wearing the braids, before Allen Iverson, all them,
Yeah.
I could show you pictures. I always had braids, man, or long hair. What made me stay, attracted to the streets was that people that was doing things in the street, picking pockets, robberies, boosting, they were being glorified. They were getting attention. That's like the cool people around the way, and the ones that were basically doing the right thing, staying the course, going to school, staying out the way. They was like invisible. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to be invisible. So I just I was attracted to the glorification that the other people were getting. So that's what jumped me into picking pockets at 11 years old, and then when I came home from doing my little juvenile bid, I was like glorified. Like the older dudes was like, "Yo, watch when you get to the big boy prison." They wasn't like, yo, when you come home, chill. Like,
Right.
yo, look, you see what you went through?
Right.
You don't need to be going through that. The big boy prison, they was like, yo, that's nothing. Watch when you get to the, not if, watch
Right.
when you get
When.
to the big boy prison. This is how you're going to have to handle this or that. So it became like a way of life in that community, like a rites of passage. So I was already knowing I'm gonna do a bid at some point.
Right.
And when I go do that bid, I'm gonna do it successfully. Ain't that some shit?
That's crazy. Let's talk about this. Is not on my cards. Mama Samson, Mama Styles.
Right.
What was she thinking when you went to juvenile? What's going on with your mother at this point?
Yo, my mom's is like a tough cookie, man. Right? She raised her and my father. I come from a 2-parent household, but my mom's was the boss.
Right.
Right? And she raised 2 boys, and she wasn't soft on us at all.
Mm-hmm.
So once I started getting in trouble, at first, she tried to put her foot down. She seen it wasn't working. She said, all right, you could do whatever you want. Because when you get 18, you got to get the fuck out my house. She said, I don't care where you go. If you're not in the military, if you're not in college, you have to leave my house.
Right.
So I already knew that.
Right.
I came home at 14. She was like, you want to go to school, or if you don't, it's on you. You only got 4 more years to go in this house. What you gonna do? So I already knew she wasn't playing.
Right.
15th birthday come. Happy birthday. You got 3 years left. What you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? 16. And I know she was dead serious. She
was
will
dead
kick you out like cold. Like I already knew that. So by the time, I was 18, I wound up leaving the house anyway. I was on the run from police though. But I
Right.
left.
Uh-huh.
And I never came back to live from there.
Wow.
So mom's is tough, man. She's tough. She'll support you if you're doing the right thing. And if you're doing the wrong thing, she let you handle your consequences. She's not an enabler at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Shout out to Mama Styles.
Yeah.
Can you share how surviving a near fatal shooting changed your outlook on life and career? So let me set this up. You're in Brownsville. Your grandmother and a bunch of your family members are out there on this specific day when you got shot. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a cookout, but we have to rewind a little bit before that. Before the cookout, I used to do armed robberies on drug dealers, right? I used to sell drugs, but I was like, it's a lot easier to just rob the ones that's making big money selling the drugs because they can't tell the police.
Right.
All I got to worry about them is trying to kill me.
Right.
Right. But I don't have to worry about the police. So that was my main hustle back then. I was, known for pulling out my gun and taking what I wanted. I had my whole little crew. That's what we was on. And so two of my people had got knocked that I was rolling with, so I was rolling by myself. And I had robbed this dude. I got up in his house, tied him up, took the money out the safe and the jewelry and stuff like that. And like 2 months later, he came looking for me. And
This is at the barbecue.
yeah, this at the barbecue. But the dude I robbed, I knew he wasn't built like that. You know what I'm saying? He was scared to death. I knew he wasn't built, and I told him, yo, just don't come look for me, because he know what could have happened.
Right.
Didn't happen to him.
Right.
So I was like, just don't come look for me. And I left him a little bit of money in the safe. I said, so you can get back on your feet.
It's a nice stick-up
Nice guy.
kid. It's a nice stick-up kid.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna knock you all the way off your feet. You can get back on your feet, but
Right.
don't come look for me. And the reason why I robbed him at that time, I thought I was justified, was because he said he was gonna look out for me and give me some work so I could get on my feet.
Right.
When I came to see him, he told me to come see him. Then he started talking like come in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I'm like, this dude is playing with me now.
Right.
So, I was like, yo, get on the floor, give me that. Hey, I'm gonna leave that for you. Just don't look for me.
Right.
I got enough problems, don't look for me. Come to find out, it wasn't his shit at all.
It wasn't his
He
work.
was fronting like this was him.
Right.
Like this was his. But the cat that approached me, it was two dudes that he was basically being a hoster for. His crib, he was holding the stuff down. They let him wear their jewelry and all that. So it was their stuff, So after I had robbed him, I still thought it was his. Come to find out, one of the dudes lived in my grandmother's building whose stuff it was. Right? So 4th of July, he comes and pull out a gun on me and was like, yo, give me my shit. I'm looking. Like, I know I didn't do nothing to this dude, but I already heard that it was his, like 2 days or something before that.
Right.
So there was a lot of kids and stuff around. So I told him, I said, yo, let's go around the corner and talk. He had the gun in my head. He said, yo, give me my shit. Just give me my shit. And I slipped my hand in my pocket. And I said, yo, let's go around the corner. And he said, take your hand out your pocket. So when I did, I had my gun out. So I said, yo, put yours down. I put mine down. Because if you squeeze, I'm going to squeeze. There's too many kids out here. Let's go around the corner. And when I was telling him that, somebody snuck up. The cat put a gun to the back of my head. It was another dude. I didn't know. I thought I was just dealing with him.
Right.
And then I turned around slowly, and I see it was the dude I robbed. And he was shaking like
Right.
that. So I was like, man, I'm ready to get one in my head. You know what I'm saying? This dude's scared. You know what I'm saying? So, I wound up getting hit up, but thank God I didn't get one in the head,
Right.
And I took 5 shots that day, almost died. And believe it or not, that it made me worse after I healed. Because I was like, I'm not going to let anybody else get the jump on me like that again. So
Right.
my attitude, I became more aggressive and less tolerant and less graceful. You know what I'm saying? So, so then after that, that's when whoever know me from that era, they was like, yo, this dude is crazy. But it was because I'm like, I'm never going to let that happen again.
Right.
And eventually, I grew up and I was able to forgive, that from happening to me, because I wanted to be forgiven for stuff that I did.
So I'm glad you touched on that. First, for the audience that's watching on YouTube, so you see, this is about redemption. We're not glorifying any of this gangster stuff. This is reality. This is a man who got shot 5 times by somebody, and you eventually produced, direct, and wrote a movie called Killing Beef, where you not only tell the stories of gun violence, you lived it, right? What was the emotional cost of revisiting that trauma on camera? By the way, I'm in the movie too. I know I keep interviewing all these friends that do big things. I'm in the movie. I remember being. Thanks a lot for bringing me in that
No
movie
doubt,
too.
man. I'm always putting you in whatever. You already
A
know
lot
that.
of stuff. So, what was the emotional cost of revisiting? I mean, you wrote this movie called Killing Beef, and by the way, y'all need to watch that. Where they can watch it at?
It's streaming on Amazon. It's on it's even on YouTube. It's on a bunch of Tubi. It's on Apple
Yes, it's
TV.
make sure Killing Beef. Make sure
Killing
y'all
Beef,
see
the
that.
documentary. Yeah.
This story is going to blow your mind. So
the community is demanding answers tonight as police try to track down the shooters involved in a gunfight that wounded 6 people, including 2 children.
It was a sidewalk execution in Brooklyn, and a restaurant surveillance camera caught it all on tape.
The sound of gunshots and sirens and the sight of yellow crime scene tape and dead bodies is an all too familiar presence in underserved black communities all over America. Black folks make up only 13% of the U.S. population, but commit over half of the nation's homicides. My name is Samson Styles, and I'm currently an award-winning journalist, writer, and correspondent. But that wasn't always my reality. And like many from deprived neighborhoods, I have an ugly past filled with felony convictions and violence. I've done 7 years in prison and have been shot multiple times. And this is 11-year-old Christopher Underwood. He's the same age I was when I first started my used-to-be life of crime. But unlike me, Christopher is on the right track. His 14-year-old brother, killed Christopher, was executed in June of 2012. Christopher is filled with anger and grief because of his brother's murder. His mother is familiar with my past of being both a victim and perpetrator of gun violence. So she suggested that Christopher talk to me. I used my own life experience to give insight to the factors that causes gun violence to permeate. Poverty.
There's nothing more violent than economic oppression and unemployment and poverty.
The lack of positive role models.
How many people we got to look up to and say, I don't want to hustle. I want to be like such and such. Those such and such don't exist in our hood. You understand what I'm saying?
The influence of the streets. My environment had at least 90% to do with the poor decisions I made. The lack of fathers.
From generation to generation, you have the mass removal of black males from our neighborhoods.
A failed school system. So I developed a behavior problem in the 4th grade. I didn't want nobody picking on me. I wanted to fit in. Christopher brother Akil's murder is unsolved. No arrest was ever made. So Christopher's first question to me was,
I know you've been shot. Do you know who shot you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the emotional. How was it emotionally? Like revisiting that.
Well, revisiting it was not only revisiting that moment, it played different parts. It showed me of what I used to be, what I'm not now, which I will never go back to.
Right.
Right. It made me look at myself in a way that, I had to take accountability for a lot of stuff I did. Right. A lot of bad stuff. That I'm not proud of, and I don't like to even talk. Other people talk about bad stuff I did. I'm not one to, I used to do this, because that shit is whack to me.
Exactly.
That shit is whack. And then I know I'm a God-fearing man, and I'm like, I hope God forgive me for stuff that I did.
Right.
And in order for God to forgive me, I know I'm gonna have to forgive. Right. So when the person came home that shot me, at first, I didn't know what was going to happen. And the first thing I did was found out where his address was. And by then, I'm working at BET. I'm on the air. I got a show on there, everything. Right. And I was like, damn, man. Like, please don't let this, because I can't just be a sitting duck for somebody, right? So I was like, oh, God, please. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but, like, help this be resolved.
Right.
And then, he reached out to me. Somebody else reached out that was a middleman he mediated it because he seen what I was doing with BT, and then he knew that this dude just came home and didn't want to go back. So he steps to me, he finds me and say, "Yo, you know, Duke want to talk to you. He came home and he want to talk to you." So I was like, "All right, cool." I talked to him, and then we wound up speaking on the phone. And when we talked for like 2 hours because our families knew each other very well. He grew up in my grandmother's building.
Exactly.
To the point that my uncle, they named his nephew after my uncle. That's how close the family was. You know what I'm saying? So, we spoke and everything, and he started apologizing. I said, "Yo, you don't owe me apology," because I was doing dirt. I said, "But you owe my family apology because you knew all of them, and that happened in front of all of them." And then I told him, "Yo, I speak at juvenile detention centers and to help keep the young ones from going down the path that we went. Why don't you come with me and join me? And we're gonna let them know what happened to us and with us. But we're not gonna let them know that you're the one that shot me. And then you just tell them and see how they react to it."
Let me tell you, one of the most powerful moments in that documentary is when he comes out the back and you got it on the film, full-length feature film, and he walks in and you tell him this is the guy that shot you, and those kids are going crazy. Like, oh, shit. Like, yo. I mean, I have to publicly applaud you. I don't know. A guy like hit me in the head with a pistol and I tried to kill him. I tried to kill him. You got shot 5 times and you just said, "Yo, you took the high road," which like the little incident I had, I should have took the high road. But when you living it and breathing it, but this was years later, you already was like, you know what? We was young, we was in it. That's what it is. That was coming to me.
Right.
But let me fix this. While he's coming home, I don't need this dude messing up my life. So, yo, I truly applaud you for taking those steps. Let me ask you a question. What advice would you give to others seeking redemption or transformation after such trauma?
As far as a reconciliation, like forgiveness,
yeah.
Well, I can mainly speak to my incident.
Mm-hmm. But your incident transforms to a whole lot of people. A lot of people have drama and trauma, and they like, yo, because I want to get back.
Right.
And you was like, you took 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to be like, now I'm breaking bread with you, even if it's years later.
Right.
I'm warning him, like I'm getting him. So you're a man amongst men to like even do that. That's like.
But see, the thing is that I know I was doing dirt, right? So just like one of my mans had got killed on the job, right? He was doing a robbery in Atlanta.
On the job, y'all hear this, right? Yeah. That was his job,
right?
Okay.
So he was doing the jokes, and he got caught, and he's very skilled, right? He got caught. I heard he caught a couple while he was gone, but he wound up dying. This dude got 7 brothers. No, he was one of the 7, so he had 6 brothers, and all of them get busy. I'm talking about live wires. They have no daughters, no sisters in their family. So when I heard this, and I came home from prison, and I was like, "Yo, what y'all gonna do?" And he was like, "Yo, it was on the job, man. Like, we know what," and they love their little brother dearly, but they was like, that's what comes with it, right? So
part of the game.
So yeah, so I come up from that cloth,
right?
I know, yo, that was a repercussion from something I did.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So now I want to be forgiven, and I want to live my life because I got a lot to lose now.
Exactly.
So I had to make the wise decision. I got to make this dude need me. So now we need each other because now we're doing these speaking engagements. We're going to film this documentary. We're going to make each other need each other.
Right.
So I don't have to worry about you. And then you don't have to worry about me. You know what I'm saying? So it was more of a survival wise move than just, I'm this this heartfelt dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I get it.
Played, you know, it played a part.
I get it. I totally get it. Are there specific changes or initiatives you hope to see that come from your film's message?
So I had bumped into this young kid that was in Goshen Detention Center, right? I bumped into him. He was on the line to get on 106 in Park, and I was at BT at the time, so I crossed over, and he was like, yo, Samson. So I'm thinking somebody called me. Sometimes they want to get in front of the line or whatever. Right. So I spun around, and he said, yo, you don't remember? He said, but I was at Goshen when you and the cat came through that shot you. And he said, after you did that speech, he said, I was going to get into some bullshit with somebody over whatever it was. And he said, yo, and I thought about what y'all did and how y'all squashed that. And I was like, yo, this is not even worth it. I'm going home. That right there meant everything to me. Because even if that was just that one dude that it touched, I was able to see that it touched him. You know what I'm saying?
And that's all it. You only got to touch one. You touch one, your job is done.
But I know I touched way more than that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what responsibility do storytellers have when they depict pain from within their own communities? Because you do a lot of documentaries.
Yeah. So one thing that we have to give the raw, honest truth, man. You know, because there's a lot of things that we do in the community, and I say we, putting myself with them, that's just foolishness, man. That don't make any sense at all. And you have to expose that, but you have to expose that in a way that, you know, you're not being condescending, but you're teaching them so that they could look at it and go, you know what? Damn, we do be wilding, man.
Right.
Not that, yo, this dude don't know what he talking about. You know, they got to look at it and say, yo, damn, like, yeah, we need to check ourselves. Yo, he's right. You know what I'm saying? What is he saying wrong? And like, I'm in Rikers Island every day. Like 5 days out the week, I'm there for like 4 hours mentoring the young people.
Rikers Island, for the people across the country, Rikers Island is the biggest jail, municipal jail in the country.
Right.
And he goes there 5 days a week. It's to give back.
Right. So, you know, them young dudes there, the first thing I do, I show them pictures of me with my gun, mad jewelry on, getting money in the 80s, 90s, and I showed them. And then from there, I asked them, what you think happens after this? I was getting money in the streets. What, you went to jail? You did a bid? Yeah, and then I got the bid pictures.
Right.
Then I said, what you think happened after that? And I said, what happens after this is whatever you want. Then I showed them pictures of me on the red carpet. Then me, you know, documentary. You see me, I got something on Netflix and here and there. And I just showed them like, yo, this is what you can become. You know, this isn't your end or be all that you in here, because look at me, I made it. So that they could relate to someone that they could see and that they know been through what they going through.
One of the best documentaries I've seen. Again, I want to thank you for calling me and put me in this documentary. On Netflix, called Crack, Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy. If you haven't seen that, there's something wrong with you. You got to look at Crack on Netflix. It's going to bring you right into the crack era, the Iran-Contra, weapons for drugs, the whole, like, I was amazed at that. You was an EP on that.
A consultant producer.
Consultant. Yeah. I remember they wanted you to be like me, an interviewer, and you was like, nah,
we took it up a notch.
We got to take it up a notch. Give me that EP.
Yeah. I said,
it.
You bring me on. I said, I'll make this documentary something that's never been out about the crack ever.
Never.
So I brought crackheads, like crackheads to this day. And even
you brought
Trevor Noah. When Trevor Noah seen it, Trevor said, yo, he asked Stanley Nelson, how did you get all these people that was in the streets at that time and even now to get on camera? And Stanley Nelson gave it up. He said, yo.
You brought Rick Ross. The original, the real Rick Ross.
He said, yo, we got in touch with Samson Styles. And Samson Styles we brought him on as a consultant producer, and he did that. He gave me the props on Trevor Noah's show.
Yo, you murdered that documentary. If y'all haven't seen Crack on Netflix, please, you got to check that out. How does that documentary connect to your broader mission as a filmmaker?
Well, first of all, Netflix, I got that
big credit.
That's a nice credit to have.
Big credit.
And and it brought the credibility that I need to tell those stories. So any story that I'm telling or I'm pitching, it's like, you know, it helps that they know, yo, he actually lived that.
Right.
So it's more authentic, and they'll take me more serious than they would someone that's just storytelling.
So how did joining the Nation of Islam influence your discipline, your creativity, or even the way you see manhood and accountability?
Ah, man, you know what, man? Even though, you know, I don't go by the name of Born no more. You know, it's just Samson Styles.
Which people still call you
Yeah,
Born.
but if people call me Born outside here, Born, I'm like, I turn around like, but Born did a lot of shit.
Right.
But so Samson Styles, that was my transition, like, you know, leaving that behind, and this is what I am. Joining the Nation, man, it taught me how to be a man at a very young age, because in the beginning you had to fast before you become a Nation of Islam. So I had to go 3 days without. That's the old school real way. I had to go 3 days without eating. Like, if you want to join this, you gonna learn to fast first. So at 12, I'm learning how to curve my hunger.
That's why you still so small now, man. Every time I look on,
you mean small, man.
Now you cut up. I see the videos. Look like, yeah, Samson still cut up.
Yeah, man. But I learned, like, at a young age, first of all, to discipline myself. So fasting at a young age, go 3 days without eating, just liquids, right? And then it taught you to know what you're saying. So if I say I know this degree and I get questioned on it and I don't know, I could get chastised.
Right.
And it showed me you don't speak about what you don't know, right? And then, you know, as far as dealing with our women, it was taught that we are like the sun and the planets are like the women. So we're the foundation of that. So anything how she reacts is due to us. So if you have a woman that's no good, it must be you. At some point, it's you, or you can remove yourself from that. So it always taught us to take accountability for whatever's going on, right? And so, and then it taught you, if you have babies, you take care of those babies. Right. Now, it was a polygamous type of teaching,
Right.
because it wasn't no one woman per man. Like, we didn't grow up like that.
Right.
But it was, yo, you take care of your kids. You have one, you take care of them. No matter how many you have, you got to provide for them, because that's your duty as a man. Right. So it gave me, it instilled all these disciplines early.
Right.
Before I could even be 13, 14. You know, so it made me take accountability at a very young age.
Okay. So what do you believe the prison system gets wrong about rehabilitation? And what worked for you?
What do the system get wrong about rehabilitation?
Is it really rehabilitation in prison?
Nah. Because, you know, I had to do 2 bids before I got it right. The first, you know, really 3, because the juvenile one I don't even count. But as an adult, the first bid I had was a 2 to 4. So I went up and I said, okay, when I come home, I said, I'm gonna get my college degree, and when I come home, I'm gonna take the right path. They cut out the college program when I was in there, so I couldn't do that. I said, all right, let me take some skills in here. They didn't have none, horticulture, you know. Then I became a teacher's aide in there, because I was one of the few that already had my diploma while I was in there. So I started helping other brothers get their GED. But when I came home, I couldn't use that, right? And I couldn't use the horticulture. So I tried to get regular jobs. That wasn't enough paying. That wasn't paying enough. I was used to getting money. I had kids and stuff like that. So they say within 3 years, most people, 1 out of 3 people that come out of prison, they go back within 3 years. Within the 3rd year, I was back. You know, because I didn't have the skill sets to be able to manage. But when I came home the second time, I by the grace of God, I'm not even going to put it on me, that he presented situations that I was able to hear his voice, grab that camera, start telling these stories, and listen to him. And then eventually I got picked up by Nelson George. Nelson George brought me to Reginald Hutland. Reginald Hutland was the president of BET at that time.
We're going to get into that. Hold on. We're going to get into that. We're going to go, right now, we're going to do a segment on Corey's Corner called Spitfire Round. Well, I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions. You give me 1-word answers or yes or no. Okay, you ready?
All right.
Here we go. Spitfire. Brooklyn or Harlem?
Brooklyn.
Tupac or Biggie?
Biggie.
Coffee or tea when you editing?
T.
The project meal you still crave today?
Peanut butter and jelly.
If your life had a soundtrack, what song would open it?
Killing Beef.
That song is dope. BET or Netflix?
Netflix. Sorry.
Who would play you in a movie about your life?
My oldest son.
Documentary you wish you had made?
Katrina.
First thing you do when you wake up?
Pray.
If you could interview anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Wow. Nelson Mandela.
Thank you for participating in the Spitfire round. This is a good answer. Before we jump back in, I want to take a second to talk about something close to my heart. As many of you know, I have this award-winning book called Once a Cop, the Street, the Law, Two Worlds, One Man, where I lay out my life stories, which is pretty similar to Samson Styles. So those who want to have a visual of the book, it was made into a documentary, feature documentary, streaming on Hulu and Apple TV called Cops and Robbers Story. Please support. I appreciate it.
I'm Assemblymember Latrice Monique Walker, and you're listening to Corey's Corner, where he always keeps it right, not real.
Today's election day. Your voice, your vote, your power. It all matters. Grab a friend, grab a family member. Every vote cast today will help shape the future of your community. So let your voice be heard through your vote. Tell us the story of how Brooklyn Girls Fight Club went from a raw idea to a nationally aired documentary on BET.
First, I want to say, man, I want to thank God again for that, man, because when I came home from prison in 2004, June 15th, I was like, yo, what I'm going to do, right? I called my man because I was doing music before that, and I said, yo, how I get in the music business now? He said, yo, the music is dead, man. You got to do film. I didn't know nothing about film. So then I called my other man that he was filming music videos. I said, yo, I'm going to do a film. I'm going to do a documentary. And he was like, yo, let's do one on your life. I'm like, nah, I already knew what was a good story. I was like, yo, my life is like anybody else's, man. I did time. I was in the street getting money. I'm home now. It ain't no plateau. You know what I'm saying? I said, but yo, these girls in Brownsville, they fight, man. I'm getting ready to do a fight club with them. You know what I'm saying? I was like, put them to work and let them fight in the ring for this money. You know, and I had the whole neighborhood supporting it. And he said, what? Yo. And I was like, all right, yo, I'm telling you, I'm having to fight this day. Let's get the camera crew out there, this and that. And I was running around. My cousin gave me a camera. And I started filming the girls. I had one dude that learned a little bit about documentaries or shooting. He said, yo, don't center the person. Shoot them a little bit to the left or to the right. That's all I knew.
Right.
I took the camera and went running. I'm grabbing all the girls that fight in the area. Yo, tell me if you was to fight such and such. Yo, I'll fuck her up. Da-da-da. She can't mess with me. Da-da-da. So I was geesing it up, promoting the fights, and started having them fight. I had the local stores, had they girls that they was betting on or supporting. I turned into a big thing. I was like the Don King of Brownsville. I was like, I had them girls fighting for money. Right. And I was like, yo, y'all wilding out around here fighting for nothing.
Right.
Save your energy. Let's get into the ring. Right. So it was like bare knuckles. You know what I'm saying? They just put on hand wraps, bare knuckles, no pulling hair, no biting, and no eye gouging. That's before MMA really took big. Everything goes. I started filming it, and then one of my mans, his girl at the time was the editor-in-chief of a magazine. So she said, yo, she was telling me about story structure. Like, yo, this could be bigger than just the fights, because I was just going to be selling DVDs.
Right.
Next fights. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm thinking about getting some money without going back to jail. Right. This is as legal as I was getting at that time. Right. Even though the fights was illegal.
Right.
So I filmed and they made a trailer.
Welcome to Brownsville.
Well, you heard about Brownsville. You come through. You're not officially from here. You're getting had. You know the hustle go on 24/7 in Beeville. That's what it's about. You gotta make it to take it.
You want to know about Brownsville? Al Capone, the gangster, used to be over there. Scarface, before he went to Chicago. Murder Incorporated started right here on Sutter Avenue.
You have a lot of fighters that come from here. You got boxers like Mustafa Muhammad. You got Buffalo Fridays, that's where Mike Tyson's from. You got Zab Judah. You see the best fights. I don't care where you was from in Brooklyn, you see the best fights in Brownsville. Even with the little 3-year-olds and little 4-year-olds, you see them knuckling up. You be like, God damn, how that little boy know how to throw so well? It's got a fight in history. Best come out of here. You see the best fights with the women too.
I just want to fight.
So in the trailer, I never wanted to be on camera. I barely took pictures. And they was like, yo, Samson, you know, tell us about the girls in Brownsville because nobody else could talk about it like you do, right? And I was like, yo, I don't want to be on camera. So it's like, yo, this is just to make sure we could sell it.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be in the doc. So I was like, all right. So there was one day I'm on the bench. And I'm like, yo, the bitches out here, this how I'm talking.
Right.
The bitches out here, yo, they ain't no joke, da-da-da. They grew up like this. If the dudes could fight, what you think they women are like? You know what I'm saying? Da-da-da-da. So now, after we finished and they made the trailer, I called Q-Tip. And because my man used to manage Q-Tip. So I called Q-Tip and his man Light. I said, yo, give me some meetings, man. I got some shit, I'm telling you, right? They didn't even see what I had. Light calls me and said, yo, I got a meeting with you and Nelson George. I was like, all right, I didn't even know who Nelson George was at that time. I said, oh, okay. He said, yo, don't wear no t-shirts, don't be intimidating, like, you know, don't whatever, right? So I go meet Nelson, I show him the DVD, and he liked it. And he said, yo, who else seen this? And I told him, Sheila Nevins at HBO, this one, that one, you know. Everybody liked it. He said, yo, my man is the president of BET. We got $300 million to change that station around. He said, we could bid on this. I was like, oh, all right. He said, yo, did you hear what I just said? He said, you know, my man.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, you know, I'm from the streets, but I believe it when I see it.
Exactly.
So I was like, all right. I said,
Right.
all right. I said, if you serious, yo, this is crazy. I said, if you serious, just call me.
Right.
Gave him, I didn't even ask for his number.
Right.
And I walked off.
Uh-huh.
I know he was like, this dude don't know who the fuck I am.
Right.
You know what I'm
Nelson
saying?
George is a big
Yeah.
deal.
So then he called me. He wound up calling me. This is like months later. And he said, yo, I got a meeting. I got a meeting set up for you. Come meet me at 555 West 57th Street, the BMW building. That's where BET was at that time. I come there and I was smart enough to get bring the girl that was that she was the CEO of the magazine or whatever to help explain the administrative part.
Okay.
I knew I couldn't talk that talk.
Right.
So I went there and I was able to talk about the street part of it. So we killed the meeting. So after that, they was like, yo, we want to do a deal for the documentary for y'all to finish the documentary. So it gave us some 6 digits to finish the documentary. And then afterwards, it's like, yo, Samson, we want to give you a career opportunity. How long you been doing that on camera? I was like, nah, that was my first time doing on camera. I was like, I don't do on camera. He was like, yo, you was good at it. He was like, you know, we have we want to start this new show and we think you'll be a good reporter for the show, right? And I was like, but then I was on parole and supervised release. One of the things I have to seek and maintain employment. I didn't have employment at the time.
Right.
So I was like, all right, so I did it for that reason. Then that turned into how God put me in the place that my face was started becoming so recognizable. I couldn't go back to doing crime if I wanted to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's what started my career, man. That got me in there. Then I started learning everything, how to shoot.
That started the official street cat.
Yeah, and then from there, I learned everything. I was the first one there on the set, because usually I just have to read my lines, read the teleprompter, and I could go.
Mm-hmm.
But I stayed. I said, I'm gonna see how this whole process go.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be the first one there, and then the last one to leave after the edit. You know, and I kept doing that, so I learned everything. So you see, I shoot, edit, write, produce.
Yeah,
I could do it all by myself.
One stop shopping.
Yeah,
I was about to ask you, what did you learn about journalism while reporting for BET News that you couldn't have learned in the classroom?
The on hands. What I learned at BET that I couldn't learn in the classroom was just the on hands training. Period. Because I didn't have a college degree, but a lot of people that interned for me afterwards, they needed my signature to get their college degree. Ain't that something?
That's
you need
crazy.
the signature from somebody that haven't even been to college.
That's crazy.
So that they could get their degree. You know, so a lot of stuff they learn when you out in the field is different. Only thing that's going to teach you is experience.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you had hands-on experience.
From day one.
Now you teach documentary filmmaking to at-risk teens. What's the first lesson you want them to learn before they even pick up a camera?
Well, before they pick up the camera, I teach them about conversing and how to get people to open up to express their feelings. So it's always a therapy session with us. Like some of the classes that I have, some of the young people start breaking down crying because I always put one against the other, and each one is responsible for telling each other's story.
Right.
So now they got to build up some empathy. They got to build up some sympathy. They got to know what kind of questions to ask, and they got to. It's a big task because now you held responsible for telling your friend's story,
right?
And your friend is responsible for telling your story. So a lot of stuff come out during that process that they didn't know. So the first thing I teach them is how to listen and the right questions to ask. Because a lot of times people just want to talk.
Right.
It's like, nah, you got to listen to be able to do this.
How important was Nelson George's mentorship to you?
Man, Nelson George, man, that is my man to this day.
I know. I remember you calling me like, yo, I need you in this documentary. It's Nelson George is behind this. And I'm like, who the hell is Nelson George? I had to Google and I was like, oh, Nelson George is a big deal. Yeah. I'm in.
Right. Yeah, man. Nelson, he's from Brownsville too. He took a liking.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he took a liking to me. So our first meeting, I had a shot of Livonia train station, the train going past. And he said, yo, I always wanted to put that in the movie. And he put it in his movie Life Support, where Queen Latifah played his sister. He did a movie for HBO called Life Support. He won a they won a Golden Globe or something like that for that.
Right.
And he told me, he said, yo, where you from? I was like, from Brownsville. He said, yo, I'm from Brownsville. I was like, yeah, where? And he was like, from Tilden. I'm like, from Brownsville. And then, we started clicking in. And everybody that know Nelson well, they was like, yo, he never took on and mentored anybody. You're the only one I know that he brought on like that. And he don't hide the plug, man. Like when he knows the executives in HBO, if I say, yo, I'm trying to do this, he said, hold on, wait. And he'll call and then step right back and say, yo, see what could happen out of that. Like, and he told me when he was bringing me on, I said, yo, what do you want from me?
Right.
Because I'm like, I didn't know about and I'm hearing all these stories about industry dudes and stuff. I said, yo, what do you want from me? You doing this for me?
Right.
He said, man, I don't want nothing. He said, I just want you to give somebody the opportunity that I'm giving you. You do that for somebody else. And that was it. And that's been my man ever since, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope. What's the biggest misconception people have about young men coming out of the system?
The biggest misconception, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that that they basically are dumb. I think one of the biggest misconceptions that they have of people getting out of the system is that they dumb and hyper aggressive, and that they're not to be trusted.
So I look at guys like you, Boo Boo, 50 Cent, and Jay-Z, who all had this criminal background, and then elevated and made it. There's nothing like the streets. You know, I mean, I could just throw myself in there too. Like, it's when you in these streets, when you worrying about life and death, and you on a higher level getting shot 5 times, when you ain't got to worry about the police, the stick-up kid, your girl setting you up, whatever, and all you got is an opportunity in front of you, like, yo, all I need is opportunity. I could do it. I have so much respect and hold y'all in such high regard. That's what people talk about, best rappers, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, me, it gotta be Jay-Z. He a billionaire.
Right.
He went from selling crack to a billionaire.
I agree.
I'll forget his lyrics. I don't care about none of that. And not only a billionaire, but he's doing so much behind the scenes people don't know about. 50 Cent, he talk all this, Ja Rule, he gonna kill him and all that. He from Queens. I know he's doing a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. You speaking, doing stuff at risk youth, teaching them. So like we talk about misconceptions, people think like young black males or Hispanic or yes, kids on the low social economic neighbor, when they come out of prison, they're gonna go right back. Nah, we could change. And that like you have to be applauded for the change that you did. And you again on such a higher level from what you've been through. Really applaud you, my brother.
Thanks, man. We still working too, man. I ain't want to talk about it, but there's some other big things in the works, man.
Oh, we're gonna ask you about that. We winding down too. This what the producer put this on here. I wanted to ask you this question. This was a question I really wanted to ask you. If you could design a reentry program that actually works, what would it look like?
If I could design a reentry program that works, it would look like this. Once they come out of prison, I will have a facility for them to come to. They won't go home yet. They won't just, from that facility will be like a halfway house, but they'll go get training or training will be brought to them. And then the companies that train will hire them so that they'll be an asset. People don't realize, like you said, one of the misconceptions, people that come home from prison will work 10 times harder and be 10 times as loyal because they don't want to go back.
That's right.
You know, but people, the misconception is you can't trust them because they went through the situation. No, you can trust them more because they went through the situation. So I will have a halfway house, and then I will team up with the businesses that's giving this training so that they could hire them. And then also an entrepreneur program, so then they also, after getting trained and working for them, they could have resources for them to open up their own, because there's so many licenses and things that we can't get as ex-felons that, you know, I'm glad Governor Hochul, she changing the laws so that when you home after 8 years and haven't been in any trouble, that your record could get wiped clean, right? That helps. But as of right now, people are still restricted because of they felony conviction. So I will make sure that they're able to become entrepreneurs in a way that they don't have to worry about getting certain licenses and stuff like that to be able to maintain and sustain.
That's crazy that you said that, because you remember Scared Straight?
Yeah.
Scared Straight is a program. Rawway, yes, Rawway State Prison. When it first started, took a bunch of young kids. I'm just looking at the camera. Took a bunch of young kids to prison. Rawway State Prison. Y'all could Google it. They was like, "Yo, you come in here, we're gonna take your butt, your manhood, da 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 da." And then they did Scared Straight all over. But what I hated about Scared Straight is they do that and they bring them right back home with nothing to do. And like you just said, like, you know, great minds think alike. I was always saying you take 15 kids to Scared Straight, take them to Fishkill, Clinton, wherever you take them. 15, you come back home, we got 15 jobs lined up. You know, McDonald's, whatever, Apple, whatever. Right then, just the way you expect. Like, this ain't rocket science. This is what I'm saying about dudes that's been in it, doing it. Like, you got all these politicians, all these great intellectual people. You don't need that. It ain't rocket science to figure out what to do with at-risk youth. And you just laid it out perfectly what they need to do.
But let me drop something real quick, right? Back in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, there was a problem in America with white-on-white crime because there was a bunch of white immigrants here, and they were poor, and they was getting to
Irish
it
and Italian.
with them Tommy guns and all that. They was getting busy. Young white kids were getting shot in the street and all that. They try to make it look like it's only us, but they were doing that shit before we was doing it, right? But the government knew how to fix that with them. The government gave them the GI Bill, right? Let them go to college for free, and then help subsidize their move, because they all lived in the project areas and stuff before we came there. How the fuck did all of them get money to leave? The government helped them leave, and then helped them get their house, and then from that started their generational wealth.
Exactly.
So the government knew what to do. You have to feed them, so they know what to do.
Yeah. Yo, Samson, that's crazy you said that, because as the CEO of PSA 2, there's 12 housing developments in Brownsville, and people are like, how they got all these housing developments? You just explained it without me even saying it. Those housing developments, all those projects was built for the soldiers after World War II. It was all the soldiers from World War II, white people that lived in the projects. They subsidized them now. But now, fast forward 50 years later, they got all these people on a low social economic scale living there, and they say, oh, they built the project for us. No, they actually built it for the soldiers that came home. And that's why you have all of these people living in the projects. Man, we could go on for days, but how do you address the causes and effects of gun violence in the Black community through your documentary? And there's a question I didn't ask you. During Killing Beef is you and a young boy. You got a young boy that you teaching during Killing Beef. That's a powerful moment in there too. So how did you address the cause of gun violence in the community?
So the young boy that's in the movie, he's 11, and he was 11 at that time, and that's the age that I was when I started getting in trouble. And his brother had gotten murdered, right? So I was explaining to him why these things happen in the community. So what I do, as far as helping with them understand the causes and effects of gun violence, is by teaching the history, period. Like I just had a class last week, and I asked the little shorties there, I said, yo, do y'all know who was in Brownsville before your family and all that was in Brownsville? They didn't know. I said it was predominantly immigrant, Jewish, and Italians that was in Brownsville. I was like, do you know Murder Inc., Al Capone, Hitman Squad, and all that? Murder Inc. was from Brownsville. So I just explained to them that Brownsville had the same murderous past when it was all white, because they were poor.
That's right.
And then when Black people came in, it just continued. So they make it look like only Black. No, when white people lived here, bodies was dropping and stuff the same way.
Same way.
So just them having knowledge and stuff like that of why this violence persists and where it originated from, even from the Great Migration and us coming from the South to the North. Once the little shorties know the history, they'd be less likely to act.
Right.
And if they do, they know better.
Right.
It's like, now you know better. You did it, but you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How has fatherhood, marriage, and building J City Enterprise with your beautiful wife, Ty, changed the way you create and what you prioritize?
I always was a family dude, but getting with Ty helped take it to another level, because she understands the business.
And so Ty is also in the entertainment industry.
Right.
She's a producer.
Right. So Ty understands the business. So I could say, if I got to go and be in Texas for a week, and she knows the production, she's not going to bother me.
Right.
All right, babe, call me when you can. I'm not going to be getting no phone call. Yo, where you at? FaceTime me. Yo, show me. Shit, I don't have to go through none of that.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all my favorite married couple. I promise you that.
Yeah, so, I appreciate that, man. And it helped me just to have a partner that I could work with like that, that's understanding, that we have the same goal. We did Killing Beef together. I think she did all the bookings. Everybody you see on that documentary, she booked them. You know what I'm saying? And people I didn't even know about. I'm like, I need a historian. I need this. I need that. She's on it. Boom. Yo, I got you this one right here. I got you that. I got you, and we did that together. So to combine that with family was just like automatic. So it just, I can't say that it was any other way before us forming J City. All I know is moving with someone that is in the same business that I'm in and everything running smoothly. I can't front like it's mad adversities or challenges when I'm dealing with Ty in the business.
Appreciate you, sis. Love you, Ty. Finally, when the story of Samson Styles is written, what do you want the final scene to say about you?
The life of Samson Styles is written. I want the final scene to say. That's a good ass question, man.
Just a producer. I have nothing to do with it.
That's a good ass question, producer. What do I want the final? Give me a second. That's nothing to just jump out at. But I would want the end result to be that I was always my authentic self.
That's a fact. You always been
always
authentic.
My authentic self. Whether you like it or not. Can't be fake. So that's what I would want the final.
Well, that's dope. I appreciate that. I'll be remiss if we don't together shout out our brother that brought us together, Ed Woods.
Oh yeah, man.
Ed Woods, man. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Ed Woods.
Super duper entertainment attorney that brought us together many years ago. Miss that brother dearly.
And it was automatic, man. It's crazy when I met Ed. Right? When I met Ed and when he came to BET and the people that were there, they were like, "Oh, that's your man?" And I was like, "Yeah." So then when the girl, her name Brooke, when Brooke England, that's her name, Brooke England, she a content creator. When she found out that this was our first time really interacting, she was like, "Yo, it seemed like y'all knew each other for years." And then when I met you, he said, "Yo, you gotta meet my man Corey." He said he got an ill story, and that's when I put him on BET, and then I put you on BET. I had that power then to put the people on that I wanted to, and then from there that was it. It was automatic.
Yeah, we've been locked. Yeah, we've been locked since
some
then.
Some people it's like that.
But listen, man. It's been beautiful having you on, man. I've been waiting.
Likewise.
I'm usually sitting in that chair and you asking me questions behind cameras. So this was really good. I was looking forward to it. But before we wrap, is there anything you'd like to share that we haven't covered?
The only thing I would just like to give a word, and that's don't underestimate people just because of where they're at now. Look at their potential and be able to judge according to that, because a lot of times people sleep on. They slept on me so many times. I'm like, yo, if you just paid attention to my track record, be like, I'm favored, man. Like, I'm going to win.
That's right.
Like, so just, don't do that, man, because it's going to hurt you in the long run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that goes with other people too. Be able to see the greatness in them, man.
Yeah.
And don't exclude them because of where they're at now. They may be having a hard time right now, but you got to look at what they, generally is as a person and be able to judge from that.
Yeah, that's dope. Let the people know where they can find you.
Man.
And what else you got? You want to drop a bomb? It's Corey's Corner. Everybody always dropping something big. Let's go, baby. What you got?
I'm working on a series. That's all I'm gonna say right now. I've been writing this series for almost around 8 years now, going back, redraft, but now I've been really on it. I have a serious production company that's waiting for me to deliver it. I'm almost there. So I look forward to getting into that scripted space.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say too much about what it is and everything, but I think y'all gonna hear about that real soon.
How could they find you if they're looking for you? Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram is the Samson Styles. THE Samson. That's SAMSON Styles. The Samson Styles on Instagram. Samson Styles on Facebook. I forget what it is on TikTok, but if you just if you Google Samson Styles, just Google Samson Styles, and you could be able to find me. You know.
But listen, man, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for pulling up on Corey's Corner, man. I appreciate you. For our listeners, if you found value in today's episode, please follow and subscribe. This has been another episode of Corey's Corner. Until next time, keep grinding, keep pushing, and remember, it's not about where you start. It's always about where you finish. I'm Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Peace.
Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one thing we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, up, talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.